Phil Murphy, welcome into SportsCenter.
Okay.
We're midway through 5 straight nights of playoff football. Trev, the CFP owned the last 2.
Yeah, they did.
Saturday, pros got their turn, and they did not waste it.
Not at all. The grown folks had themselves a day. One comeback fell short. The other was about as epic as you can imagine. It was a rubber match in the wild card round. Soldier Field in January means I'm glad I'm watching on TV. Jordan Love out there ready to go, as is one Caleb Williams. Third meeting, but unfortunate fourth down result for Shaw City. Early fourth quarter now. Williams trailing by 12, but finding his man, Colston Loveland, a popular target for the young Bears quarterback on this evening. A gain of 21 into the red zone. A couple plays later, it's 3rd and 3, and DeAndre Swift off the handoff is going to batter his way into the end zone to bring the Bears. It's now a 27-16 lead, just over 5 minutes to play in the fourth. Williams under pressure, rolling left. Rome Odunze there for a huge fourth down conversion. Unbelievable throw on the run. Both of these quarterbacks capable.
Fourth down, 2 interceptions on fourth down. And then ironically, it is the fourth down throw from Caleb to Rome Odunze that basically is the throw of the night, which kind of shows you that this team is never out of it because of the unique playmaking ability that they possess at the quarterback position and that they possess on the perimeter as far as their weaponry in terms of them being able to get open and make plays both at the catch point and then, run after the catch. And the fact that although the running game was pretty much handled tonight, by the Green Bay defense, so you got to tip your cap to their front seven being able to kind of rise to the challenge in that regard. This team is so multiple in terms of the way it can strike. That's why they're never out of the game. They're never out of it. And then when you combine it with the fact that they have one of the most innovative play callers in NFL football right now. I mean, just think about the touchdown to DJ Moore. Right. That basically seals the football game for them. The fake, rocket screen, and then he takes off. It's basically a screen and go. I mean, that's perfect. That's a perfect play call against man coverage, because then you're really taking advantage of an over-aggressive secondary, trying to break downhill on the screenplay, and then they basically wind up, getting a free runner down the field, and they complete the scoring drive. It's just there's just so many things that go into to winning a game like this. But the number one thing that goes into this, it's really about football character, resiliency, resolve, understanding that you have enough playmakers to make the plays when it counts. And this is just really, for Caleb Williams, considering where he came from at the end of 2024, heading into the 25 season, and all the talk surrounding whether or not Chicago had made a mistake, whether it was Caleb or whether it was the previous regime. Should they have drafted Jaden Daniels? Was Caleb ever going to really rise to the heights that he's risen to this year? And it's still not perfect for him, but it's good enough to where now they're moving on to the divisional round. And this football team is learning as it goes, winning as they're learning as they continue to go. And they're not even really a complete team yet. Right. What Ryan Poles, the general manager, is going to have to go to work this offseason and really kind of fortify that defense, right? Get more pass rush, get more corners on the back end, more coverage guys, get more dynamic playmakers. But man, are they exciting. Yeah. They are really at this point, maybe the most exciting team to watch in terms of second half play, fourth quarter play that we have. And a lot of that has to do with that signal caller, Caleb Williams, who right now is really having the last laugh considering some of the talk that was surrounding him at the end of 24.
Yeah, like you said, Michael Parsons said you had to take the life from them, and they were unable to do so, were Green Bay. But you may look at a myriad of missed opportunities when it comes to Brandon McManus and the kick game, but what in your mind went wrong for Green Bay in that second half?
Well, I think, look, obviously it's a three-phase game, and you can't just overlook the fact that he has a missed field goal, he has a missed extra point, because, look, those aren't gimmies. I mean, you have to execute those kind of things. That's what kickers are paid to do. They're paid to execute. And long snappers are paid to long snap, holders are paid to hold, and kickers are paid to make kicks. That's the difference in the ballgame. It's a difference in the ballgame in the end if you just want to take the extra point in particular, because then Jordan Love isn't trying to score, doesn't have to score a touchdown in order to win this football game. They can kick a field goal and tie it. I mean, that's the ball game right there. That's one of the things that led to them obviously losing this football game. It's not the only thing, but it's one of those things. And look, obviously there are coverage busts in the back end as far as their secondary is concerned. Heck, they put the ball on the ground twice that could have really cost them, that Chicago just wasn't able to capitalize on, that could have cost them. There's a number of different things in a 60-minute ball game that you can point to, and we just laid out a couple of them. But in the end, hey, look, that's the way all NFL games go. Heck, that's the way all football games go. It's always a bounce of the ball here, a blown assignment there, a missed extra point there, a great play here and there. That's why we love this game, especially at the NFL level where parity reigns supreme, and you know more times than not it's going to come down to the end. It's going to be a one-score opportunity. And really, Chicago has lived in that environment, and they are excelling.
Yeah, for the Packers, first time in franchise history, 3 consecutive playoff losses. Obviously, that's over 3 years. Fans were booking travel to Seattle. Now their offseason abruptly starts. For the Bears, after that 6-play, 66-yard game-winning touchdown drive, they can welcome either Philly or LA or San Francisco to town, but tonight just enjoying the celebration. DJ Moore post-game, new on SportsCenter, is with Al Martin.
Oh, my gosh, because we never give up, they never give up, and it all goes down in the last 2 minutes of the game, and somehow we always find a way.
Now, what is it about this team, though, that even late in the game, you guys are able to have that composure and come back?
We just know our preparation is always key, and we lean on it at the end. We got to be detailed at the end in everything that we do and go out there and execute it.
Your quarterback, Caleb Williams, 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. What can you say about his performance today?
He was right on track, never wavered. He was dialed in and ready to go. When it's, the lights shine bright, he's the brightest one, so he's going to get us there.
Back with Lewis here, and hearing DJ Moore speak that glowingly about the young cat Caleb Williams, right? Like, you spoke to just the actual production that he had to will this team to victory, but what does it say about his mental fortitude that they were able to pull off this comeback behind his arm, essentially?
Well, you saw early in the football game, it was clear that he wasn't on the same page as his wide receivers on a couple of those critical situations, in particular on 4th down, that they just weren't executing cleanly. And things were kind of off kilter and kind of off balance. And let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard for young players. It's hard for veteran players to be able to kind of erase those moments and then be able to kind of reground themselves, recenter themselves, and then stick to the task at hand, which is, okay, I got to move on to the next play. I got to get the call. I got to relay the call in the huddle. I got to tell everyone, what it is that I need to alert them for. I got to see the defense pre-snap. I got to catch the shotgun snap, which wasn't always perfect for them as well. And then I got to read the defense post-snap. Then I got to avoid all these pass rushers. Then I got to maybe move outside the pocket, maybe make some ridiculous throw rolling to my left to where I can't even, when I throw the football, I wind up on my rear end because my body's so out of sorts. All those different things takes a very special wiring in your mind, and in your brain as far as your competitive character to be able to come back and do that over and over and over, even though like early on you didn't experience success. Many people will crack under that kind of pressure. Many people that slide downhill will just accelerate, and either they have to pull you out of the game or you just don't have any chance. Caleb is showing you what he's made of. Caleb is showing you what inherently he has inside of him, that Ben Johnson is bringing out of him. Obviously, it's starting to kind of grow as he experiences more and more success in those particular situations. And then what winds up happening is it starts to spread throughout the football team. Now the football team is going, hey, man, we got to make sure that we pull our weight because we know this. Caleb's going to do his. He's going to do what he needs to do. We need to do what we need to do. Then all of a sudden, the routes were crisp. People were making the plays that they needed to make. The offensive line were making the blocks that they needed to block. Obviously, Ben Johnson, as the play caller, starts feeling as though, okay, I see my quarterback is back in the groove now. He's back in that right headspace. And it just lifts everyone. Then the defense goes out there because, I'll tell you what, as a former defensive player, when you see your offense start to click and start to go and the crowd starts getting going, then all of a sudden you start making more plays. You all of a sudden are locked in a little bit better. You rush the passer a little bit harder. You're better with your eyes and with your transition mechanics when you're breaking on routes. You're finishing harder on the football. And then the crowd gets going, and I'm telling you, that kind of emotional infusion of energy that you get in those kind of situations is something that quite honestly, as I sit here as an analyst on TV, I start getting goosebumps about thinking about those kinds of moments in my competitive career, because that's why you play the game. That's what you live for. You live for those moments. All of us who were sitting here tonight watching that game on TV would have loved to have been in that stadium, and even better yet, on that sideline or on that football field to feel how powerful that kind of emotional uptick is. And that's what you just watched. And a lot of that has to do with Caleb Williams and what he is continuing to show this football team.
Yeah, and all the game-winning drives, Lewis, you could have an asterisk for some of them. I mean, Minnesota completed 0 passes on a game-winning drive. He had 1 in the rain in D.C. on Monday Night Football. Here on the game-winning drive, 4 for 6, 66 yards, touchdown to DJ Moore that
big time.
He won't forget. Nobody at Soldier Field will ever forget. But, Lewis, they got a game again in 7 or 8 days at Soldier Field. Opponent TBD. Not knowing who they're playing, but in general, what do the Bears have to do to keep this rolling forward and get a win that they'll value even more next weekend?
Well, I think, number one, look, obviously red zone TD efficiency has to improve. Once you get down inside the 20, the operation has to become much cleaner for them as far as just number one, just getting the quarterback center exchange, whether that's, quarterback under center or quarterback in the gun, making sure that's clean, making sure wide receivers and quarterbacks are on the same page. And then, if it does come down to a 4th down type of situation, make sure the operation is clean. Coach Johnson has to make sure he's getting the play call in cleanly. Caleb understands what the situation is. They just got to execute. So that's number one. Number two, they want to get back to obviously running the football a little bit better, because they were held, I believe they were held to under 100 yards rushing in the football game. I didn't see what the final stats were, but that's their bread and butter. They don't want to play a game from an 18-point deficit, because the competition gets better as you go up, as you progress through the playoffs. And so you want to be more multiple, like they've always been. Their bread and butter is run the football, play action, pass. They don't want to live in the drop back world over and over and over again and have to try and overcome an 18-point deficit. They don't want to do that. So they want to clean that up. Defensively, obviously, they see how teams are trying to attack them in the secondary and who they're trying to go after. So you got to make sure you got to account for that. So there's plenty to work on, but it's always cool to work on that kind of stuff after a W.
No question.
It's real cool knowing you're going to play one more time at the very least.
And just to dive a little bit more into that defense, not for nothing, Jordan Love did have himself a day, and to not have been under duress whatsoever, right? Especially from a pressure standpoint, that was one of the things that was of concern entering the postseason for this Bears defense. So is there anything that they could do, depending on what quarterback they face, from a pass rush standpoint?
Yeah, look, Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, has to try and find ways to manufacture pass rush, and he was trying to find ways here tonight. He was trying to send 5 or more on occasion. He was trying to run some stunts up front. He's trying to change it up. There's only so much you can do, though, at this point. There is no magic formula at this point to create something that you really haven't been able to create on a consistent basis up until this point. We know that this is a football team that is feasted off of the turnover differential. And you can see that in 2 of the 3 phases on special teams and on defense, they hunt the football relentlessly because they understand that that's what a lot of times gives them a chance. And tonight they had the ball on the ground twice. They got it out twice and they weren't able to get it back. And those are the kind of things that they have been able to really capitalize on. So they'll continue to work on that because they understand where they're at. They understand what the DNA of their football team is. But yeah, look, there's only so much you can do. You're not going to be able to bring in a bunch of new players at this point in time. You're not going to be able to bring up guys off the practice roster who are all of a sudden are going to make your defense better. You live with what you got. You continue to work your craft, and you understand what got you there, and you try to prove people wrong who say, hey, you know what? Winning the turnover battle to the degree that they have won it is not something that's repeatable over and over and over again. Yeah? Well, they got the ball on the ground twice here tonight. They continue to do that, throughout the playoffs. They're going to give themselves a shot, especially if the offense can continue to always find its legs when they need it.
18-point deficit erased for the Bears. They march on. TBD opponent in the divisional round. It is a cruel zero-sum game. Other side of the coin, a Packers team that thought they were advancing themselves would have been for them to Seattle. New on SportsCenter.